All right, well, welcome everyone to our Saturday morning A-Team call. I'm excited about today. I'm excited about this month. I'm excited about being involved in Take Shape for Life and what it does for other people. And I was checking out things today, kind of looking at our past and where we are today. And so far this month, we've had our best start ever in Take Shape for Life. Ever. And very excited about that. We had a great event last weekend with Dr. Anderson, and we figured that we had well over 10,000 people attending, watching that, the presentations. In fact, it could have been close to 15,000 was our number. So that was the most attended, the most well-attended event ever in Take Shape for Life. And, now is a time to be following up with people, be talking to people, be really in your business, treating your business like a business, not like a hobby. And we're going to talk about that today. Because a lot of you, unfortunately, treat your businesses like hobbies. And that's okay if you want to. We'll just do this and we'll just help a few people. That's fine. No problem. But if you want something more, and you want something more for you, your family, and you want to help more and more people get healthy, then you need to treat it like a business. And we're going to talk about that. But first, let me go ahead and state the A-Team motto, and that is: you have the ability to achieve greatness by always doing something positive and by being accountable for all of your actions. And if you're doing something on a daily basis to do something positive in your business, reaching out to somebody, letting somebody know what's possible in their life, finding out what they want, listening to them, you're going to have a good business. Long term, you're going to continue doing that. And you want to stay active in your business and doing the things that you need to be doing. It's also going to help you in your health. I know some of you are back on the 5 and 1 again, after the holidays, and that's okay. That's okay. I've been there many times. I've been doing this for 14 years. But it just depends on what you want out of life. It depends on what you want, what you're focused on. It really depends on what you're focused on. And I'm fortunate to have today with me as a co-host, Integrated Presidential Director, David Miller. David, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Brian. Thanks for having me on today. It's a real pleasure, and I know what we're going to talk about today is a subject that is kind of near and dear to my heart. I think for Terry and I, one of the things we love about Take Shape for Life is the offer of the trilogy. And to achieve the trilogy, you really have to dig into this business and treat it like a business. And we often talk about wearing your CEO hat, no matter what level you are in this business. If you start with the CEO mentality in mind, where you're in charge of your business, you're looking in and diving into your business, looking at what it needs, and the tools that are coming out, like the map and things like that, will help you do that. And what we're seeing is great results from that, because people are, even at an entry level in this business, from senior coach up, are starting to treat their businesses like businesses, and it's paying off. So this is where we're heading in Take Shape for Life. And if you, like Brian says, if you want to treat this like a hobby and you want to get a few people healthy, God bless you, because this is a culminating effort of everybody. And if you get one person healthy, you're helping us get America healthy. So great, if that's all you want to do. But if you want it more, if you want the trilogy aspect of this business and you want to grow a large business, then what we're going to be talking about today is critical, and a critical piece of achieving that. So yeah. Brian, I want you to know I'm really happy to have you on, because Terry and I feel, and I hesitate to say, because and I did a post yesterday on Facebook, that we don't like to brag, because or really tell people exactly how our life is, because it is so good that it does sound like bragging, but really it's possible, because we're living it, and we're actually helping more and more people live that same story. So I'm really excited that if we can get the message out and people start treating this more like a business, they can have what we have, and that's what drives Terry and I every day.
Well, Dave, and I'm glad you brought that up. As far as you guys have a great lifestyle. We do too, and everybody on this call has done fairly well with Take Shape for Life, and it's helped them in their life. But I do love the aspect that I can pay this forward and I can help other people have what I have. I mean, that's what drives me, I think, every day, because I see people that are struggling. I see people that need something in their life, and we have something that we can really pay forward to help people in their lives, in all aspects of their lives, as far as the trilogy goes. And I owned a business before Take Shape for Life. I was a contractor up in Portland, Oregon, and I had that business for 8 years. And I had employees. I had about 8 employees when I ended up folding in that business. I mean, some things happening in that business after 9/11, but I was grateful that I had Take Shape for Life in my life at that time. And it didn't take me long to replace my income that I was making in that, and on a lot less hours. And I was able to spend more time with my family and have a different lifestyle. We have a different lifestyle today than we definitely did 14 years ago. And we're not in that place anymore. So I know it's possible, and I know people can have that. And I know people are struggling. And what I love about Take Shape for Life is I can choose who I work with, and I work with people, and if they want it and I meet them halfway, I can help them achieve what they want. And it helps me too. It's a win-win for everybody involved. There's nobody that loses except for those people that lose weight. That's what's exciting to me, is that we have a situation here that can really help millions of people with their health, physically and also financially. But we have to treat our business like a business if we want to accomplish that. And like you said, Dave, I mean, we love the coaches that are coming in that all they want to do is service a few people. And look, it helps them with their health. They've helped a few people out. But just think of the possibilities. We have a lot of people out there that need what we have.
Yeah, and I recall when I started, I kind of treated it like a hobby. I got in not for a business reason, but for personal reasons, to help my family and friends. And we created a business from that, which I thought was amazing. How can you build a business that earned a pretty good income and only spend very minimal time with it? And so I really enjoyed the process more than anything. And I really enjoyed the results because my family was getting healthy. So I was actually close to retirement. And so I was like, this is going to be it. And then at some point, and I'll talk about that later, we made that decision and to treat it like a business and start really growing it.
Right. Well, let's talk about what, now I always tell people to invest back in their business. Okay. My business I was in before, I had the this is what happened. If I didn't put back in at least 80% of what I took in, I would be out of business because there was that much overhead. And there was some times where I only made 10%, putting in 90%. Now, most people that don't have a business for themselves don't really understand this. And actually, if you never had a business for yourself, but Take Shape is the only business you've had, you won't understand it either. because it's not the way it works with Take Shape for Life. And a lot of people treat the money that comes in to them, they treat it like, oh, it's extra money, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, pay this off, do this, and maybe I'll take a trip or whatever it is, that they want to do. That's not the way to treat your business. I always use the 20-80 rule, 80-20 rule, and I do it for investing back in my business too. And everybody's different on this, but hey, if I put in at least 20% to make 80, I am a happy guy. Because like I said, I had to put in 80 to get 20 with a conventional business. So it is so important to reinvest in your business. And what are some of the things you invest in when you're talking about investing in your business? Well, one, you want to get certified, right? And number two, I think, is events and getting people to events. And then after that, it could be join a chamber, do a show, do these different things, but make sure you understand return on investment too. Return on investment usually never comes right at that time you invest. It always comes down the road with any of investment. If your investment's a good investment, you want to talk to your business coach about different investments. I can talk about investing money all day because I've done a lot of it within Take Shape for Life, and some's work pretty good and some's work not so good, and some have been great. So it just depends. But one of the great things, one of my best investments I've ever made in Take Shape for Life is events and getting people to events. So Dave, why don't you talk a little bit about that, and let's introduce our first guest. I'll have you introduce our first guest.
Yes, Brian, I think both you and I, you've been in longer than we have, but you kind of, after you've been through a few years of this, you can actually track the benefits of these events. And the people that go have, well, I think even the company did a study on this, like 5 times the amount of business is done by people who attend convention or one of the events than people that don't. To me, that's pretty compelling, and it's a really good, like you said, investment of your money. And we actually invested in people to get them to those events. We would pay for one aspect of their trip, maybe their travel, maybe their registration, to help them out to get them there, because we think people are worth investing in, and the right people. And so we dedicated a certain amount of our income, the paycheck that we got from Take Shape for Life, into other people, was one of our investments, along with getting ourselves to every event. And you look at the results afterwards, and it definitely pays off. So we got some great people here going to talk about their experiences with that, and how it affected them, and how it's changed their lives. So that'd be a pretty powerful message there.
Yes, that is very powerful. And, investing in other people, that's a good thing. Meeting them halfway, you don't want to do the whole thing for them, but I've always had rooms, always had extra rooms all the time for people. And some of you have benefited from that. And, it's about having them see the bigger picture. And also, it's not just investing. Well, you grow your business by doing this, and it's also takes less time to do your business because of these things, because you have people being trained at these events. Hey, come to the event, be trained. and I love that. I love that about this. So why don't you introduce our first guest speaker?
We'll be speaking with Michael and Michelle DeFabio. Guys, it was a great event a few years ago. I know that we attended together, and you had some pretty powerful things to say afterwards, but share with the people your story. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, thank you, David, and thank you, Brian, for having us on. And thank you, David and Terry, for picking us to invest in. We would 100% not be here if you hadn't chosen us and reached out and said, we love you guys. There's an opportunity. We'd like you to come and see it. At the end of the event, you'll know if it's for you or not, and there's no strings attached. That opened up the door for us to just go and take it all in. And I literally remember the moment standing in the back of the room, watching Dr. A and Dan on stage, thinking in my mind, I'm a teacher with a master's. I have a job forever. They can't get rid of me, right? Got my job. I've got my 2 kids. We're losing our house. We could lose our cars. We're going to lose everything. But I have my job, in my mind thinking, I've got my master's. I stick with this. But you gave us an opportunity to see a different future. And standing in the back of the room, I remember you saying, so what do you guys want? And I remember telling you, I want $500 so Michael doesn't get mad at me if I go buy something. Because money was so tight. It was ridiculous. It was so tight. And I remember that moment thinking, I could do this. We could do this. And but we need some time to do it. So we need to dig in. So when we saw that first event convention, I saw a career. I saw a business. My mind started going, we need to get to the next training they invite us to and not say we're busy. We need to get a babysitter. We need to make time. We need to turn off the TV. We need to map it out. We need to get serious. And we went back, and after 6 weeks at school, eating the food, talking to the people, sharing what our experience was about, we realized we matched my income, but we were going to go ahead and write out the year. I started giving away my things out of my classroom, knowing that we were switching careers. I was switching careers. And I didn't see it as a hobby. I definitely saw it as the huge opportunity that was shared, but I never, ever would have saw it if I hadn't been there in that room with all those people, seeing them explain it from beginning to end with all these professional, wonderful, kind people. If I hadn't seen who TSFL is, I couldn't have joined it. And it's really hard to see who TSFL is and what it is if you're just by yourself in your house on a phone, or you might meet up with your business coach, but you don't get to meet your entire support line. You don't get to, like, Michael, you were all over everybody. David and Terry, you were amazing in introducing him to people. And he's like, hey, can we go jogging? I have some questions. I mean, we saw it as what a unique group of people. Never seen such a group of happy people in my life that all paid to go somewhere and sit and take classes and be there. Just the energy of it, I would hope that nobody ever misses that, because that was our fork in the road. That was where we got to quit barely making it and struggling and just like dream and be there and be full-time parents and help a lot of people do the same. So that gift of learning how to help yourself, and then how many people can we help? Absolutely priceless. So thank you for giving us that.
Well, you accepted it, and that's the big thing. And one of the things I really remember after that event, Michael, I don't know if you remember, but you were actually on the leadership call after that because of that statement. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, well, and just to piggy, first of all, thank you, Brian, for it's always an honor to be on this call. So thank you for having us. But yeah, the event was, I'll finish with that, David, but piggybacking on what Michelle said, because that event, like Michelle said, it helped us realize that when we came back, you know, it was the awesome sauce for us. I mean, we came back and we went quick. We basically started, you know, at the end of July and into August, qualified for Go Global back then, you know, ED or Sundance. EDs could go to Sundance. And I remember going to David said is at the dinner, you know, when they were talking about Sundance, I didn't know what it was. I was just, by then I was ready. I as an entrepreneur, I went there to poke holes in Take Shape for Life, and I couldn't find any. And so by the end, and I was watching all these things, and you know, how it can just help your life and help your family and the people we met. And they said Sundance, and I remember asking David, how do I get there? And he said, well, you know, attain ED. And at that time, I thought ED meant something else, but I was like, okay, if you say so.
Whatever you say, David.
Whatever you say, David. You know, I trust you, Terry. And but by the end, I remember telling David, I don't know if it was word for word, but I mean, I was so choked up because for the first time in my life, I really was in a place where I thought, wow, this is something so much bigger than what I had already thought I could do, you know, with my gym and my partners. And I told David, I said, you know, this is one of the best things that probably has come across into my life, along with, you know, my family and my children. But I said, you know, I see Take Shape for Life as one of the best things to come across my plate. And by having that excitement coming home, but we, you know, going back to, you know, we also learned that to reinvest, like you were saying, back into your business. So we came back, and as we built a team, and once people started to qualify, you know, and convention was coming around, you know, we were like, okay, guys, we had some team members, and we were like, what can we do? And the other leaders on this call here will talk to you about, you know, the why, the how, and the what, and what that does. So it's been fantastic. We haven't missed an event yet. There has been a couple times where we've needed a little warming up underneath to say, hey, you know, you're busy with your kids, but you still need to get there. So listen to your mentors. They know what they're talking about.
Great. That's awesome. You know, and
well, Brian, I just wanted to finish up with that it's been an amazing ride, and I see Michael and Michelle living a life with a lot less stress. They're spending time with their kids. They're you know, you see Michael posting pictures of them golfing with his son, and Olivia is just growing up to be a beautiful young lady, and they get to spend all this time with it, and they're full-time parents, and they're living a life that most people would love to have. And I think that, you know, because in this country, we've kind of, in the 80s and 90s, we got away from that. We've sacrificed time with our kids for things, and now we're understanding the real importance of being there for the family. And these guys have been able to, by saying yes to Take Shape for Life, have been able to live that lifestyle where they make the things that are most important to them the most important things, and they have the time for it. Now they have financial freedom to do the things with them that they want, and just because they said yes and were willing to go to work.
That's great. And you know, it's interesting because a lot of times we'll find that people say, you know, I can't afford it, or I don't have any time. And those are the two reasons why you need to go. Because if you don't do something, it's not going to change. You're going to be saying that 5 years from now. So it is important to understand the importance of these events, and that's why we're talking about it. Especially coming up, we have Go Global, and if you're qualified for it, you should go. If you're qualified for Go Global, if you're not qualified, you still have 16 days left to qualify, and anybody can qualify in 16 days, even if you're a brand new coach, depending on how much time you put into it and how many people are willing to talk to. So our next speaker is Presidential Director Joanne Brewer. Joanne, you there?
Yeah, hi Brian. Thanks so much for the invite. Well, how significant are events? Well, if you hadn't twisted my arm back in 2006, you know, I had a perfectly great, I'm just kind of like Michelle, I had a great job and I was making some pretty good money, but I didn't have a life, and you know, working an 80-hour work week. So, you know, you told me in 2006, you know, I needed to go to a convention. And I'm thinking, I've been to a lot of conventions, and, you know, I don't need to go to this one. But you said, no, you really need to go. And for me, I'd never been in direct sales before. I'd always been in corporate America. So that was really big for me. So when I went to convention in 2006, at that time, there were only 1,225 coaches in the organization, and 225 of us were at convention. I just remember that, just, you know, so vividly. And I went in and I expected these, oh my gosh, these are just going to be these most fabulous people. And I'm just going to, and then I realized that they were great people, but they were just like me. And I'm going to tell you, if I hadn't went to convention in 2006, I would have continued doing my corporate job, continued giving up my life, my 8 hours a week, you know, not having a quality of life. And so I really thank you for just, you know, really twisting my arm to get me there, because I didn't think I needed it. The financial piece wasn't a missing element for me, but my life was missing. And so when I went, that was amazing. And 1 year later, May 31st of 2007, I retired to do Take Shape for Life full time. And everybody said, you're absolutely crazy, Joanne. You're going to walk away from a 29-year career and go do this. And I said, yeah, I really am. But the thing was, is if I hadn't gone to the convention in 2006, I wouldn't have seen the bigger picture. See, that's the thing about events, is you have to go to an event because your picture is very limited without that visual view. And, you know, you exposed me to that. I met your lovely mom. And so, and it was just really, it just changed my life. And so what I've been doing for the last 10 years, can you believe it, Brian? That was 2006, and this is 2016. Okay, so at 56, I retired to do Take Shape for Life full time. I'm 66, going to be 67 here pretty quick. And what an amazing last 10 years. And it would never have happened if I hadn't gone to that first event. I mean, it really wouldn't have, because I was really content with what I was doing. So how big is that? That is like huge. And I had the most wonderful last 10 years with my husband, who just passed away last year. But all because I went to that event. How big is that? You know, I would have never seen the picture. So what I've been doing since, just like you teach me, I reinvested. I have helped so many people to get to convention. I've helped so many people. What can I do to get you there? Because if you can get to the event, you see the bigger picture. And until you see the bigger picture, you don't know what's possible. You just don't know what's possible. And, you know, I don't know, I can't say enough about it. And, you know, but you must get there. You must get to every event you qualify for. You've told me that. I've been doing that for 10 years. And look where I'm at. I'm in a really sweet spot in my life right now. It's almost 67. And it's because of that very first event, Brian. So I thank you for that. And, you know, I'm just going to keep on going here. And I really want people, this is the thing, you know, I can say to my team, this is where I started, so I know what's possible. So getting to that first event can get you to help you see what's possible, but not that you can't work. You know, I never considered this a hobby, David. This has always been a business for me, okay? Never. I mean, when I left corporate America after 29 years, I went directly into Take Shape for Life as a business, and I'm done very well for myself. But, you know, you can have it as a hobby, you can have it as a full-time business, but you can't know what's possible if you don't go and if you don't see it. Like, you know, Michelle and her husband and, you know, Stephanie's going to talk about. So I don't know. I thank you, Brian, for taking, you know, and telling me how much I needed to go and how much I fought you for going. I said, no, I don't need to go. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. But I'm thankful because 10 years later, look where I'm at.
Yeah.
So that's a big event. So like you say, if you qualify, get there. If you can't figure out how to get there, talk to your mentor. Because, Brian, you have helped me for so many years to get my people to events. And, you know, I remember my first, I won some of your incentives at $350. I gave them away, you know. So, you know, get them there because it isn't so much that for your business, but it's for them giving them their life back.
Wow, thank you so much, Joanne. There's a lot of great things you said there, and you are so true. We can't see the bigger picture unless we go to these things. We just can't. I mean, I keep on going to recharge my batteries. Every time I get to an event, I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad I came to this, and that's me speaking. And I've been doing this 14 years, and I have never missed an event, not once. And there's been some times I got close when two babies were, well, one baby was being born 1 year, and then another couple of years later, another baby was being born. So that was, but I was able to figure it out. My wife was kind of like, what? What was interesting too, and I just want to mention this, is Joanne, the year you came, I think was my first year, maybe my second year, my wife actually came to an event. So my wife had not come to an event for the first 4 years. She'd never seen anything involved in Take Shape for Life. So those people that say, well, my spouse isn't going, or what, you know, well, I can't go because of, you know, I don't want to hear it. If you want to change your life and you want to change your life for the better, go to the events. If you want to keep on continuing to change your life, if you feel that Take Shape for Life has done really, but I don't need this event because, you know, I've heard it all. Bull crap. Go to the event. I mean, what are you talking about? You've heard it all. I haven't heard it all. Anyway, David.
You know, I would tell you, Brian, just in my closing, you know, national convention this last year, my husband had only been gone a week, and I went to national convention. And a lot of people, you know, said, well, I can't go. And I said, excuse me, my husband passed away a week ago, and I'm going to be at convention because I needed to be among my family. Okay? I might not have been there 100% mentally, but I went because that's where I belonged. So you never have a big enough excuse not to be there. Okay?
Yep. You're exactly right, Joanne. Thank you for bringing that up, because that the support that you get from these events and the support, like you said, family, it's so important. Dave?
Great point, Joanne. Hey, there's a couple things I wanted to speak on, and one of them, Brian, you said is kind of the obstacles way. We're teaching a lot of that. I said before that, I said, for every reason, for the reasons you choose not to take Shape for Life, or the reasons you need to do Take Shape for Life, because, you know, I don't have enough time. Okay, would you like some more time? we can show you how to do that. I can't invest in it, or I'm too busy. Well, would you like to be not so busy? You know, these are questions we need to be asking people, because they do get in this situation like Joanne and Michelle were saying in their lives, and I'm sure Stephanie can relate. I know I can. That good was the enemy of great, and what are you willing to sacrifice to have something better? And Dan Bell asked me a long time, I was sitting in the audience, I know he was talking right to me, when he said, do you have goals? Do you have dreams? Do you have desires? And I'm like, yeah. And he says, are you any closer to them than you were 5 years ago? Man, that hit me right between the eyes. I'm like, I can go back 20 years. I'm no closer to them. And then he said, if you want a different result, you have to do something different. And man, did that awaken my desire to do a Take Shape for Life business. And I walked out of there, and I know I talked to Terry about this, and it's like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And when he talked about this S curve of growth, and I didn't want to miss that. The cool thing is we're in this position and we're still on the low end of that S curve because we got so much more growth and potential to do. But gee, what are you willing to give up to get something better is the question you want to ask yourself today. And for us, it was getting financially lean, cutting back on the extras. We gave to the community for so many years, and so we got a little selfish and spent some time on us to create. And I think it was a pretty good investment, Brian. I just think in retrospect, I think it was a good decision.
Yeah, I think so. In fact, I was thinking about return on investment, and I don't recommend doing this, but when I first got involved in Take Shape for Life, I got into a kiosk at the mall, and that's actually how David and Terry came about. And the investment I had was quite a bit for that thing for a few months. It was quite a few $1,000s, to get invested. And I didn't see that return on investment for a few years, but I tell you, my return on investment comes almost daily now. So,
not only financially, Brian, but we were blessed to stop by your house the other day, and what I loved, and Terry both and I loved about it, is what you created. It wasn't a home of opulence and to show off. You built a house for your family, and an experience right there in Idaho. It's like a little resort, but it was just so about your family. It wasn't opulent in the way that you could have built a house. It was really designed around your family, and you could tell how much they loved it and were a part of it, and how they admired Jody for all the work she did and put into it to make it a home. And it was really exciting to spend that time with you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dave. And it is, it's great to have these goals that we have, and if these goals are gonna help you, your family, and help other people see the bigger picture, why not? And the only way to achieve these goals, honestly, guys, I go back to the events. So with that, we have our last speaker here. We have Presidential Director Stephanie Golka. Stephanie.
Hi guys, thank you, Brian and David, for having me on the call. I'm going to switch gears a little bit because I think everybody did a great job of explaining why events help you see the big picture. But when I started this business, I have 4 kids, from ages 2. Well, I can't say all the ages because I never remember, but the youngest was 2 and the oldest was 6. So pretty darn young. I worked 40 to 60 hours a week. I had never expected, I wasn't an entrepreneur like Michael was, but I wanted to do this because it was such a great thing and it had been so instrumental in my life. So the reason why I went to an event, I actually took as many people as I could to the event, was because I was worried I didn't have the time to go make sure that they got all the information and they got all trained. And I didn't want to be the bottleneck of information just in case they were the ones who wanted, to fly, because I didn't know that I was going to be flying ever. So for me, it was that return on investment of my time was, 2-3 days was much better spent. So that then when I came home, I'd have more concentrated time with my family, if that makes sense. So that was the first thing. That's what I got by getting people to the events. And, and then some things I never expected. I mean, one of my best friends now, we had a Go Global coming up and she desperately wanted to go there because she lives all the way in Pennsylvania. Here I am in California. We'd never seen each other. And, I think it was Skype in those days, if ever, just mostly on the phone. And she worked so hard so that she could get there. And she was like, I just wanted to be around. You want skin to skin contact, hugs, smiles, and things that, we try to convey them over these, electronic ways, but there's nothing that beats sitting down with another person face to face. And then, I just had wanted to mention, so last year, first year ever, so I've been in this business, last Saturday was my 8th year anniversary, so pretty excited about that. last year I didn't get to go to convention because I wasn't allowed to fly for medical reasons. And it was like, what? And it was as horrible of an experience as I've always thought it would be if I wasn't there with my team and my friends. I will tell you. And I'm starting to get some glimpses of why God had me go through that trial. But I'm so thankful that my other friends, I had always from day one instilled how important the events are, because their spirit helped carry me when I was at a spot where I couldn't help myself, where I was really dark. So if for no other reason, to build that community that can be strong, if you should ever have to lean on it, it would be another, reason too. And last but not least, this is an opportunity. If you are qualifying for Go Global, this is an opportunity for you to build a business, just like Brian said. And I mean, I remember when I was like, oh, should I be investing more time and more money and all those things into going to like Go Global? Things are going fine the way they are, where things are at. And one of the things that I really try when I get scared, doubtful, not sure, whatever, is I look at my kids and I think, okay, so if I'm saying that, maybe that's not for me, or it's too late. Like, what if Joanne would have said, I'm 56, I don't need more in life? What if Michelle would have been like, what, I had all my education, I'm fine with that. And goodness gracious, David, whoa, how sad would this world be if you and Terry had decided, what, you're retiring from UPS, that's good enough, we'll make ends meet, I mean that on a heart sense, not in a financial sense, which that's a whole other ball game. But I thought to myself, well, at what point did I, what age was I when I said, that's for younger people, that's a dreamer. You got your thing here, you're fine. And I challenged myself to say, all right, so at what age do I let my son know that even if later on a great opportunity comes, just float in the boat that you're in? What age is that? When I say, don't take a chance, don't go try. And you know what? I couldn't come up with that age. And so I darn straight wasn't going to prove that at 38, that was the age that you shouldn't take a chance. So I encourage all of you, if for no other reason, be brave, go see what's out there, because it's a pretty good view when you take that chance. So thank you so much for having me on the call, Brian. There's no other way to say it than once you're there, exactly what we're talking about and the why of why you're there.
Oh, you're exactly right, Stephanie. And you know what? I think I'm sure there's other reasons too, but one of the reasons why you didn't weren't able to go to convention and had that experience is to share with other people that same thing and why they should go.
Yeah.
So that's great. And it's interesting what you said about people, becoming content with kind of what they have. I always say, always be grateful for everything you have, but never content. Never content. You should always be growing. You should always be continuing. If you are content, you might as well be dead. and actually, mentally, you probably are. And that's sad. People need to keep on dreaming, and we can. What's cool about events is we start dreaming again. We start thinking about what is possible. What can I actually do with this life of mine? And how many people can I actually help? How many lives can I actually change? Because that's why this is so great. This business is so great. We change so many lives, and we are able to help so many people. And think about this. We've only helped really hundreds of thousands of people. We've got 100 million people to help. We are so small. We're so small. So the opportunity here is so huge. And it's just, you need, if you're thinking about it, I don't know, just go. Don't think about it anymore, because it's dumb to have that conversation with yourself. It really is, because it'll be of benefit to you. I would not tell you that if I did not believe that. And I'm telling you this, if I was a brand new executive and I just made a couple $1,000, I would put $1,000 into Go Global in a heartbeat. in a heartbeat. In fact, if it cost me my 2,000 that I just made, I'd put it into it. That's how important it is. Dave?
Brian, I can see you're pretty passionate about this subject as well. I think just because we've been around so long and saw so many transformations and people's lives improved because of this, it just, and we talked about the community and recharging your batteries. And not only that, but the education. Who have you become in the process of being a Take Shape for Life health coach? I mean, all this is available at these events. If you pay attention, if you're engaged, if you take that information away and put it into practice and see what a difference that makes in your business and the people that you talk to, the people you connect with. I mean, to me, it's priceless, And so if you're you'll hear some people say, well, I don't have anybody going. Well, that's the reason, again, the obstacle's away. That's why you need to be there. If you have people going, you need to be around those people because they need to be connected. Not only we have the ability to have Zooms now and be connected like this, but it's not the same. You want to be in the same space. You want to give real hugs to people and really get connected with them, hear about their stories and things like that.
And Dave, what you just said about the Zoom not being the same, we're not going to have as many events like the regional events. This was our event, right? Online, right? I mean, we did have events, but they weren't like all over the place. And we did, I mean, like one after 1 week after another week after another week. It's all one day, right? Which was great. I mean, I think it's awesome. But you're right. You have to be at the event to experience it. You've got to be at the event to really see the bigger picture and rub elbows with people that are, like-minded, that want more out of life. And you just have to be in that environment in order to continue going through the other environment you're in the rest of the time.
And it's such a great thing because I'm sitting here looking at the screen and we got to watch these speakers go through their process, and watch them grow as individuals and leaders in this business. And it's just been, and there's tons more where these guys came from that could tell amazing stories as well. And it's just, and when you get around a community of people like that, that is the connection. So if you can get somebody to an event, it's the community, I think, is the biggest draw because this is rare. What we have is very rare out in the corporate community. And when people see that, they want it. I know I did. Terry actually was the one that told me to go to a convention. I was the health coach. And she says, you ought to go because she'd been in the industry and she knew the value. And so I went, and what I saw was amazing. The leaders, the corporation, and the cooperation between the corporation. And it's even gotten better as we've gone along. So many great things. So when people see that, they have a greater buy-in, because you can sit there and you can go there and try to poke holes in it. Right, Michael? A lot of people do exactly what you said you did. And when they say, I can't, then they can become all in, and then they can see it possible for themselves. Then they can create a business and a life for themselves, and then pay it forward so many other people can. That's how we're going to get America great again. And so it all starts with getting to the events. Saying yes to Take Shape for Life, getting to the events.
And Dave, what you just said, when people poke holes in different, try to poke holes in things, I love when people try to do that with our business. It's like, poke away, man, poke away. There's no, I mean, it's awesome. And we're going to be able to see, those that come to Baltimore are going to be able to see the company, see how they make things, how they, all the moving parts. That's an awesome experience. You guys all need to see that. You all need to be a part of that as well. And also you're going to be close to DC. So, I mean, there's other things you can do as well. I always make it a trip. I was making a fun thing. This year we've decided not to bring the family, do as much with that. I might just come just for the event itself. And so like at Go Global, I'm going to have a couple rooms, have a bunch of guys with me, and we're just going to have fun, just have fun. And I think Terry said something about, hey, you have someone sleeping in the bathtub or I mean, there's always, I always get rollaways. I always get, figure out, okay, where can, because I want more and more people to come to the events so they can see the bigger picture and we can continue to grow this thing. And one thing about it now, the times have changed, guys. Like, 14 years ago, like I mentioned, I did a kiosk. I mean, I wouldn't do that now. We have social media. We've got all kinds of different things. I may do a show or something once in a while, or I may do, but it's really, there's so much available to us. There's so many different things that we have available to us right now to grow our business. And really, it's just about getting in front of people, talking to them, letting them see the bigger picture. And what's the bigger picture? The bigger picture is at Go Global, at National Convention. That's the bigger picture that they're not going to see in you. You're never a prophet in your own home. Never a prophet in your own home. You're not going to, people are going to look at you, and they're going to look at things a lot differently if they see Dr. A on the stage, Dan Bell. It's just the way it is. That's why we do three-way phone calls, Zoom calls. That's why we do all these things. So anyway, just exciting stuff. Just very exciting. So anything anybody else has to say while we end this call? Before we end?
Brian. It was amazing to share all this information. I think also talking about, like the why, the how, but the what is you can't bring convention back, but you can bring what you've learned in those tools. And what happens when you come back, if you have a team, you're going to be excited and you're going to be so focused to help pay it forward to your team. But if you don't have a team, now you're going to have the tools to really understand, so that next year you're not coming back by yourself. I know our second Go Global, we brought 3 team members, and the next Go Global, they all brought multiple team members. So it's when you come back, it's bringing that excitement and that awesome sauce to just help your team move forward. And again, that's what's so nice, is that paying it forward, because you made that decision. David and Terry made that decision. Brian, you made that decision, way back in the very beginning. And so that's another just huge thing to just, you're going to come back, and you can't bring the event back with you, but you bring back that knowledge and those tools that are going to help move your team forward, or help you get a team, build your team so that you're not by yourself. So like you said, brand new executive directors, we have one, and he can't wait. So exactly.
Exciting. So thank you guys so much. All of you have been great today. And what's interesting about this screen here with the people, and you guys will be able to see this when you see the recording, but you've got everybody here has affected literally over 1,000 people, and combined we've affected over 100,000 people. Think about that. See how powerful that is. And I would say we would not have been able to do that, any of us on this, if we had not made events that important. None of us would have done it. With that, the over 100,000 people would not be there, is what I'm saying. That's how many lives can change because of one person that decided, I'm going to take control of my life. I'm going to move forward. And there's still 16 days left. There's still 16 days left to qualify. I love what Dan Bell says. He goes, if I give you $1 million by the end of this month, if I give you $1 million, would you be executive director? Would you have 20 people on the program? Yes. 6 people a day. 6 people a day would be, if you're a brand new coach, 6 people a day talking to, following up with. Every day is about 100 people talk to. You get 20 people out of that. Right, Dave?
That's right. And I want to take this time to say thank you, Brian Drollinger, for saying yes to Take Shape for Life all those years ago. Because, again, if you hadn't put up that kiosk, if you wouldn't have met Terry Nancy Pettit, I don't know what my life would look like today. Yeah.
And that's, and what would it be like for everybody, down through the whole thing? And what's it going to be like for the people that you talk to? And what's it going to be like for them 5 years from now? What's it going to, you never know what's going to happen, guys. But I'll tell you what, if you don't get to the events, you're not going to know what's going to happen, because it's not going to happen.
And you won't be able to pay the gift forward.
That's right.
And you're never too old to dream.
That is so true. So true. And if you continue to dream, that's living. And continue to work on your goals, that's living, right, Joanne?
You've got it.
So anyway, all right. Well, thanks guys for being on the call, and have a great weekend. we got lots of time left for this month to get those goals accomplished and get with your mentor and work on your game plan. And let's see you at the events.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, David.